Mercy Ravi. Mercy Ravi, of course, is the wife of Union Minister Waila Ravi, and Ravi is the minister's son. They went to Guruvayur, and it resulted in a purification ceremony. Let me start with you, Ravi. Does it feel absolutely terrible? But this is not the first time it's happened to you. This controversy between your family and the Guruvayur temple has happened before. There are those here who would say, if you know this is how the temple feels, why go again? Is it almost like courting controversy? Ravi.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
The last time they said it was a mistake, and everything short of a public apology was done.
Okay.
We were led to believe that this is past, and then it happens again, where I'm told that there is a precedent, and my good friend here will tell you that a bad precedent is no precedent at all.
But given the bad experience of the past, why was it so important for you to visit this temple?
It's a matter of faith. As a Hindu, I'm entitled to go to any temple. If you really look back, what is it to be a Hindu? That is the key question. Are you born a Hindu or are you made a Hindu? We are all born Hindus. No one can tell us that you need a certificate to be a Hindu. No, we don't.
Which is what the temple asked you for, right?
Exactly.
Would you go again?
Of course.
Okay, so that is, of course, what only faith can explain. Mercy Ravi, let me ask you this. In some ways, you're the center of the controversy. Even more than Ravi, the controversy centers around you. Now, if we're talking about faith, does your own faith become irrelevant? You were born a Christian. Does that become irrelevant to you once you're married into a Hindu family?
Well, the first thing, I have never been to this temple. I always used to keep out. Even at the time of marriage of my son, I was standing outside because I respect the custom, belief, tradition of all religions. But
you didn't feel bad? You didn't feel bad at so many crucial family ceremonies you had to stand outside?
Yes, it was paining for me. But I have been married to an Irava, he's an OBC. And our marriage was solemnized by the SNDP, the religious outfit for the Irava community. And they follow the patriarchal system. So I thought I should do a justice to him and his family. So by tradition, I brought my children as Hindus. If I want the...
That wasn't a difficult choice for you?
It was, really it was a difficult choice. Why I went for that? Because that family is a very secular family. I thought I should do a natural justice to that family.
Ravi and Mercy, your story throws up such interesting dilemmas. Patriarchy versus matriarchy. If faith is sacred, then why was your husband's faith more supreme in some ways than your own faith? And then, of course, the larger question of what Ravi calls a terrible deja vu feeling. We're going to come back to you. Let's move. Yes, quickly. You wanted to make a quick point, Mercy?
He never asked me to get converted to Hinduism, and I never asked him to convert to Christianity. That's all.
But in some ways, your family has been brought up as Hindu, and that raises interesting questions, not to be judgmental at all, it just raises very interesting questions. Rahul Ishwar, we know the temple priests are going to meet tomorrow. There's a big meeting happening to actually look at what all of this means. Has it come, has the time come to debate all of this? But what happened to the Ravis? What do you feel about it?
See, just as a land follows the rule of law, a temple follows the rule of acharas, or rule of traditions, or rule of customs and beliefs. Yeah. That's the first point. The second point, just because something is going for centuries, it need not be right. Okay. And just because something is going for centuries, it need not be wrong too. You have to remember that. Just because something is going for centuries, all the media cries that it is wrong. It is against modernity. The third point, all the acharas and traditions are subjected to evolution. We are not against it. That's the reason why. And what happened, I have personally talked to him. What happened in this case was there was a precedent which is debatable. A precedent which is debatable, the acharas, the tantri was only protecting the law. And you have to distinguish between law and a person who implements the law.
Okay, I get what you're saying. You're saying the temples are only implementing what has been practice, and therefore by practice it's become virtual law. We'll look at Sabrimala's own controversial barriers in just a bit. Let me get Pratihari ji in now. Pratihari ji, we speak only about the South. A lot of people have begun to believe these controversies happen only in the South. But March के महीने में पुरी में भी यही हुआ. Purification ceremony, बहुत सारा खाना जाया हुआ. एक ऐसे देश में जहां लोगों को खाना खाने को नहीं मिलता. क्यों? क्योंकि एक टूरिस्ट गलती से मंदिर के अंदर चला गया. Does this really need a purification ceremony? क्या इतना extreme step की आवश्यकता है?
मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि अभी का मंदिर का जो कंस्ट्रक्शन है वो 12th सेंचुरी एडी का है, परंतु हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड ये कह रहा है 4th सेंचुरी एडी में जब पहला आक्रमण हुआ जगन्नाथ जी के मंदिर पर, रक्तबाहु करके किसी ने आक्रमण किया, तब जगन्नाथ जी को लेकर के उसके डिवोटीज और पंडे पुजारी उसको छुपाने पड़े। 4th सेंचुरी से लेकर 18th सेंचुरी तक मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ कि मंदिर पर 18 टाइम्स 18 बार आक्रमण हुए। द मेन टारगेट वाज लॉर्ड जगन्नाथ। डिस्ट्रॉय करने के लिए काफ़ी कोशिश किए गए।
Let me understand what you're saying. You're quoting to us from history to say, and something some of us are familiar with, that to protect it from outsiders, and historically it was attacked, which is why this rule was born. Let me move to a member of parliament from that state. Jay Panda is, some would say, a forward-thinking, younger generation member of parliament. We respect Pratihari ji's explanation that this is rooted in history, it was rooted in historical fact. Should it hold true in 2007? This is the temple that famously refused Indira Gandhi entry. Not to say that Indira Gandhi, by virtue of being a politician, has any more rights than the ordinary citizen, but just to give a historical example. Jay.
I personally believe that Hinduism is much more liberal than what is being portrayed. And I personally believe that temples should be open to everybody. And when it comes particularly to the Jagannath temple, the name itself is evocative. Jagannath, the Lord of the universe, not just the Lord of a few people in India. And if you look at the legends behind the Jagannath temple, there are innumerable examples of this broad-based approach.
So when something like this happens...
Let me just explain. Jagannath has had many very famous devotees of other religions. And there is one particular myth or legend of the Jagannath temple that I would like to cite, which is very relevant to the Guruvayur controversy. There's a very famous legend about Dasya Bauri, a lower caste devotee who was prevented by the priests from entering the temple. And the legend goes that the deity himself appeared outside the temple to welcome the offerings of this devotee. So my personal feelings is that these temples should be open.
But you don't believe the state should intervene?
Now here I have a problem. My problem is this. I am very reluctant to get governments and legislatures involved in the business of religion. I think if you look at a situation like Sati, how was it changed? Yes, the British did bring a law against Sati, but that's not what made the change happen. The change happened because Raja Ram Mohan Roy organized a campaign that brought about an awareness, and
so you need
people
consensus and reform that springs from the community. But some would argue that that reform too would kill the individuality of different religions. Radhika Chopra, is religion by its very nature, in some ways, by definition, keeps some people out and some people in?
Well, I think religion is based on the logic of a difference in belief.
Yeah.
And in what sense is it that that belief is articulated and practiced is what makes one religion different from another religion. And therefore, I think what is really interesting to me in this particular case of the Guruvayur temple, as well as in a sense in comparison with the Jagannath Puri, and I say that specifically here, Puri, is the fact that what we seem to be debating here is not difference in belief, but the fact that belief is being equated with rights. There is a particular aspect of our sort of modernity that in a sense we are looking at this whole issue in terms of political rights, of everyone being equal in an identical way across the board.
And some would say that's not possible in faith, but when it comes to the whole issue of Dalit entry into temples, Chandraban Prasad, let me get you in. It's very difficult actually for anyone in modern India to disagree with it. You know, you can still debate women, and Sabrimala does that. You can still debate people of another faith. But it's very, very difficult to argue today in modern India about Dalits being allowed into temples.
See, look, Hinduism is a spirituality deficient order.
And spirituality deficient order.
And
do you think of yourself as Hindu?
No, I'm an atheist. And Hinduism is a ritual torture house. So unless...
Isn't that very strong? Isn't that very strong?
Once you see the case of Dalits, they can't even look at the God. The God will punish him. So unless Hindus reform themselves radically, Hinduism will become dinosaur in coming 100 years.
Okay. Interesting perspective from a Dalit activist who describes himself as an atheist about a religion that's widely acknowledged to not be a codebook religion, to be more of philosophy and more spirituality than many other faiths. Swami Makhanlal Prabhu from California, formerly now very much Indian. What do you make of this whole debate?
Well, it's very interesting because I'm sure that Mr. Binda would agree. I myself am not allowed in the Jagannath temple. I'm clearly a Vaishnava. I'm personally a devotee of Lord Jagannath. I worship Lord Jagannath every day. So we call this the, because of the color of my skin, I am not allowed in the Jagannath temple. That's not a political issue. That is a question of being attached to the bodily concept of life. This is not a very high class, it's poor fund of knowledge. All respect, sir.
So the fact that you're not allowed into the Jagannath temple is a problem for you? Do you feel offended that you, because of the color of your skin, would not be able to enter?
Not exactly offended. There's some disappointment. This has been going on for a long time. That same Lord Brahma who gifted the Guruvayur deity, that same Lord Brahma descended in a Muslim body, believe it or not, as Haridas Thakur, who is in the Hare Krishna movement, devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in a Muslim body, Namacharya, okay. Lord Brahma, that same Lord Brahma that gave the deity.
Now I'm getting confused, but I think your story is actually also very interesting. You are now, for all practical purposes, Swami Makhanlal Prabhu, who cannot enter the Jagannath temple because you were formerly a Californian. Mukul Rohtgi, what's happening is very interesting. The Guruvayur chief priest actually gave an interview to NDTV where he said, why doesn't the state intervene and change the law? He actually said that. He said, let the state, and this is a Marxist state in Kerala. This irony of ironies. It's a Marxist, supposedly atheist state which refused to get drawn in the Sabrimala controversy. It has refused to get drawn in the Guruvayur controversy.
This is a very sensitive issue. Constitutionally, we have freedom of religion in this country. We are a secular country. We are not a theocratic state. But, as you know, no right is absolute. Before the state intervenes, it is better that first there is a debate between the temple priests, the local community, the state's representatives. You can note down that these are certain practices which may have been reasonable 200 years ago, as Pratihari ji said. But by passage of time, what was reasonable earlier has become unreasonable.
Okay, I have to actually go into a break. Everybody seems to agree, let there be a debate within the community first. But let's wear the other hat and argue. Do we really want a sort of sameness to every faith, every ritual, every belief defined by modern, mostly westernized notions of modernity? Welcome back to We the People. In modern India, do temples have the right to create barriers of entry based on their own historical traditions? That's what we're looking at on We the People today. Before we return to our panel, let's get some comments from the audience. Yes, ma'am.
In the previous segment, there was a discussion about the state to intervene. I was wondering that if most of the political parties have religion as one of the agendas to rake up controversies, to get noticed, so how is the state going to intervene impartially and be objective about the whole thing?
All right, so you don't trust the state, which already plays politics with religion, some would say, to intervene. Fair point. Let's get a comment here.
You see, we have to go through consensual evolution, as they have said, and it cannot be imposed upon us. So all the religious leaders should sit together and find out some kind of evolution.
I just wanted to add to that our religious leaders have brought our religion to such a position that we can be proud it's the most liberal religion. So we should allow them to do it. Let the evolution occur. Okay. It's a natural process.
So.
I think Mrs. Mercy Ravi was very magnanimous that as a Christian she didn't want to enter the Guruvayur temple. As a Malayali Hindu, I and millions of others love the devotional songs sung by K.J. Yeshudas, the renowned singer, who is a Christian. And I don't understand why K.J. Yeshudas cannot visit the Guruvayur temple.